he has given you a set of questions, but you go ahead and I am
Yeah.
fine. कोई
Yes.
भी पूछो. I mean, it is now a part of the blood and veins. Don't worry.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Starting the webinar.
Yeah. Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diwakar Yadav. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Diwakar Yadav, Mutual Fund Product Manager from HDFC Securities. First of all, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined this webinar. Today's webinar topic is navigating volatile market through multi-asset strategy. And in today's webinar, we are going to discuss about Franklin India Multi-Asset Allocation Fund and ongoing NFO from Franklin Templeton. In this current market, wherein we are seeing volatility, we are seeing many things, market are high. So in this current scenario, I think this is an apt NFO, which is currently live. And to discuss this, we have Mr. Siddhartha Bhattacharyya with us. He is Associate Director and Head of Business Development at Franklin Templeton, India Business. Siddharth is having around 25 years of experience, and out of that, 20 years is with Franklin Templeton only. In his stint of 2 decades of Franklin Templeton, he has worked across multiple geographies and roles. Prior to his current role, he worked with Birla Global Finance Limited and Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. So, welcome, Siddharth. Over to you.
Thank you, Diwakar. I am looking forward for an engaging conversation. आप सभी से बात करने का मौका मिला, so I didn't want to lose out on this opportunity. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be part of this webinar this evening.
Yes, great. So, if we can, yeah.
You want me to
Yeah,
go ahead?
please, yes,
Okay.
please start, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, दिवाकर ने कहा कि आप सबसे बात करने का मौका मिलेगा, and we have a fund which is Franklin India Multi-Asset Allocation Fund. This fund is currently on new fund offer, and the NFO is currently on, while the NFO has opened on July 11th, but the NFO closes on July 25th, and we have still some time to go for this. Quickly, Diwakar, should I do the presentation or you will ask me questions in between? How does that work?
So एक बार आप presentation run कर दीजिए. Definitely, most of the things will be clear over and there itself.
Perfect.
उसके बाद
Perfect.
over. So I wanted to ask all my participants, if you have any queries in between, please write it in the chat box. So वहाँ से हम सारे questions ले लेंगे. आपकी कोई भी query रहे in between also, so we can take it up.
Perfect. So, what I'll do is over the next 20-30 minutes, I will try and explain not only the product, but एक जरिया, एक सोच, एक messaging as to what an investor or an informed investor should do in such kind of markets when the markets are volatile, when the markets do not have a set-led precedence or a direction. Not that markets have direction at any point in time, but when things have everything has moved over the past few years, how do you want to see this going forward, and maybe some solutions, some thoughts, what we can bring as a manufacturer, and happy to have a partner like HDFC Securities helping us reach out to investors, massive number of investors on ground, to be able to be part of their wealth creation journey. So clearly, if you see, India's growth fundamentally remains robust. Now, I'm not going to harp on this point. हम सभी को पता है that US हो, Europe हो, China हो, India हो, the fastest runner has been India, followed by China. And 6.5 to 6.3 kind of a growth rate is not a bad GDP projection when you look at it more from a relative terms across the globe. Also, this is an interesting slide which says ki it's not only about the rank of India. You must have all heard that India just crossed Japan and we became a more than $4 trillion economy. But what is important is what has been the journey of a $4 trillion economy plus. So in year 2000, India was ranked number 13, but look at the gradual improvement what India has seen. And in 2024, India is number 5. In 2026, it's expected to be number 4. And eventually, in 2027, it should just be behind US and China. So trajectorily, fundamentally, technically, the the growth rate of India has been strong, and India continues to be uh, anchoring and running for the third largest global economy. So while this have been more from a data perspective, but abhi market mein hai kya, and how the markets have behaved over the past few months or last couple of years. So you would see September 2024 से April 7 तक, I mean 2024 September to April 7th, the small cap had fallen, followed by the mid cap, followed by the broad Nifty 50. And we have seen that there have been tectonic down capture across the different indices. But look at this interesting thing. From April 7 to 30th June 2025, markets have come back in a big way. That Nifty small cap appreciated 25%, followed by Nifty mid cap 22%, and Nifty 50 15%. What is interesting is September 24 to April 7 market gira, and uske baad, because of the upside, the decline from September 2024 till June 30th अगर हम लेते हैं तो मार्केट रिकवर काफी कर गया. और यही हम HDFC Securities में भी when we transact, when we buy stocks, we see that the markets keep going up and down, the stock prices goes up and down. And you would see that from a valuation perspective, we are not very cheap, we are not very expensive. So the last 20-year average for a large cap valuation is 18.4, for a mid cap valuation is 22.8, and for small cap valuation is 16.4. So हर एक segment, large, mid, small, बहुत differently behave कर रहा है in terms of the valuations. Broad strokes, you can look at Sensex or Nifty as one big market or economy, what we look at. But when you look at the large cap, mid cap, small cap, the valuations continue to be differently poised for different segments of market cap. Now, given the fact that the valuations are different, given the fact that January to September markets moved up, September 2024 to April markets tanked, again from April to June the markets moved up. What do you do? How do you manage this volatility? And that's where a diversified portfolio helps reduce the volatility. So अगर 2005 से 2025 का हम लोग एक पीरियड लेते हैं, और 2005 से 2025 का जो पीरियड है उसमें 20 साल का पीरियड है. इन दिस 20 years, द वे टू रीड दिस स्लाइड इज 2005 में इक्विटी सबसे ऊपर था, 2010 में गोल्ड सबसे ऊपर था, और 2015 में डेट सबसे ऊपर था, रैंक नंबर 1. लेकिन अगर आप यही डेटा पॉइंट को थोड़ा डीप डाइव करेंगे, एक 100 मीटर के रेस में 20 साल में इक्विटी 10 बार जीता, 20 साल में डेट 2 बार जीता, गोल्ड 9 बार जीता. लेकिन इंटरेस्टिंग बात यह है, जो मल्टी एसेट है, जो बन चुका है, आई मीन the multi asset is a formation of equity, debt and gold all combined, वो 20 साल में 13 बार जीता. And Jita, when I say Jita, it is number second, not number 1. So what is more important? Very volatile performance or a steady state number second, but the maximum number of times in the last 20 years. So multi-asset has been, you can see the orange portion is multi-asset. It has been steady state number 2. So it has never been very aggressive. It has never been very uh, conservative. It has been steady state, giving a median return over the years. So people who understand a little bit of statistics, slightly technical, equity or gold and debt, ये तीनों में correlation बहुत कम है. इक्विटी जब बढ़ता है, गोल्ड तब गिरता है. जब गोल्ड बढ़ता है, इक्विटी गिरता है. दिस इज द ट्रेडिशनल way of thinking, but over the last 2 3 years, we have seen that most of it has gone altogether unidirectional, with equity also doing well, gold also doing well. But yeah, this is a very positive point that equity and gold have different directions to aim for, and they necessarily don't chase the same direction of upward or downward movement. There's a very interesting slide, and the idea was of this webinar when I was chatting with Diwakar before the discussion. The idea was to share with you some perspectives of data. हम अगर आईना आपको दिखाते हैं और उसको थोड़ा सा पीछे लेके जाते हैं, that how things have changed, how things have moved. Now ये अगेन 2005 से 2025 का डेटा है, और इसमें जो ब्लू लाइन है वो इक्विटी का है, जो ग्रीन लाइन है वो गोल्ड का है, और जो पर्पल लाइन है वो डेट का है, और जो ऑरेंज लाइन है मल्टी एसेट का है. uh, आप देखोगे that in December 2010 to January 2014, gold has done exceptionally well. Why? Because this was just after global financial crisis. Equity markets were down. People wanted more tangible assets. People wanted real estate. People wanted gold. So you have seen that the gold prices have gone up. Now you see the COVID period. In August 2019 to April 2021, again the gold has gone up, because during COVID, it was very unprecedented times. Nobody could predict what is going to happen, and people wanted to be, uh, in possession of tangible assets like gold. So equity was down. But when you see May 2020, uh, maybe May 2023 or May 2024 to Feb 2025, you would see equity markets have done very well. गोल्ड जो हरा लाइन है उससे नीचे है. बट ये है, मैंने आप लोगों को पॉकेट्स बताया कैसे काम किया है इक्विटी गोल्ड. बट व्हेन यू लुक एट ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड द रिटर्न्स, इक्विटी ने भी 14.8% दिया है, गोल्ड ने भी 14.8% दिया है. सिर्फ जर्नी डिफरेंट रहा है, नंबर सेम है. और मल्टी एसेट ने दिया 13.8 विद द लीस्ट वोलेटिलिटी. ना गोल्ड के जैसा ऊपर गया, ना इक्विटी जैसा नीचे गया, लेकिन मल्टी एसेट हैज बीन स्टेडी स्टेट, जो मैंने पहले वाला स्लाइड में दिखाया विथ नंबर्स, दैट हाउ इट स्टैक्स अप. ये बहुत ही सिंपल एक जरिया है आप लोगों को बताने के लिए दैट इफ यू स्टार्ट योर एसेट क्लास पोस्ट जीएफसी रिकवरी विथ 33 100 रुपया है मेरे पास, मैंने तीनों में इक्वली बांट दिया, एंड देन पॉइंट टू पॉइंट रिटर्न्स. दिसंबर 2007 से मार्च 2009 तक मार्केट was down. Post global financial crisis, the markets were correcting. So you saw equity from 33% became minus 54%. Gold from 33% became plus 50%. And 33% of debt had an appreciation of 9%. Essentially, their asset weights became 15, 49 and 36. क्यों? क्योंकि मार्केट वैसा ये 2 साल में मूव किया. नाउ सेकंड फेज में इक्विटी बहुत अच्छा अप्रिशिएट किया, तो 117% रिटर्न दिया इक्विटी, 29% रिटर्न दिया गोल्ड, और डेट दिया 8% रिटर्न. सो एसेट वेट्स दोबारा आ गया 33 से 24 47 29. दिस इज विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ एसेट रीबैलेंसिंग. एसेट रीबैलेंसिंग मतलब अगर 33 से मैंने शुरुआत किया है, are we rebalancing the assets when the markets are correcting or the markets are appreciating? We haven't done this here. So look at it. The net result is 35% if the markets have not been rebalanced at all. 35% in so many years absolute return, right? With the weights of 15, 49 and 36 as I showed to you in the left hand side. But अगर हमने उसको rebalance करे होते और वापस 33 पे लेके आते हर चेंज के बाद, तो मेरा पोर्टफोलियो रिटर्न होता 51%. सो व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट इज 35 और 51 में बहुत अंतर है. अगर बिना रीबैलेंसिंग हम लोग रीबैलेंसिंग नहीं करते, इफ द एसेट classes are not rebalanced, it's 35%. But if the asset classes are rebalanced after every upward movement or downward movement, it becomes 51% of portfolio return. So essentially, there's a very important and significant quote in investments that 90% of the returns of investments comes from the asset allocation and not from the asset class itself. So what essentially means is 90% of जो returns हम कमाते हैं portfolio में वो asset allocation और discipline की वजह से आता है, not because of the asset class of whether it is equity, gold or fixed income. Moving on, this is the fund, Franklin India Multi-Asset Allocation Fund. It's an open-ended scheme investing in a mix of equity, debt, and commodities. Uh, बहुत ही simple product है. It would invest in equity, debt, commodities. Equity का range होगा 65 to 80%, commodities का 10 to 25, and the balance will be in fixed income. ये एक मॉडल पे आधारित होगा और ये मॉडल है is going to be multi-factor. It is not going to be only one factor basis on which the model will be investing. It's a proprietary model, um, uh, and this will be dependent on macro variables like growth and inflation. And the whole idea is that uh, how do you invest in different regimes? How do you invest in different proprietary ways and ensure that the allocation between different asset classes are attuned to? And to make the best use of this, the use of arbitrage will be done to provide an equity taxation. So as I said, equity will be uh, 30 to 80% based on regime. Equity arbitrage will be 0 to 35. Um, uh, 10 to 25 will be debt, and then 10 to 25 will be commodities. Now, this is important that agar equity 30% hota hai, I will first make it tax free. I will first make it equity taxation, not tax free, sorry, by making the overall allocation of equity plus arbitrage at 65. And then the balance 35 gets distributed between commodities and fixed income. And if the model throws up 80% equities, then we are sorted because the taxation requirement is 65% and above should be in equity asset class or equity oriented asset class, which is equity and arbitrage in this case. ये सिंपल एक स्टॉक सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस है हमारा. Quality, growth, sustainability, valuation. Idea is that how many parameters we take into account for selecting the stocks which will appear. Equity portion manage किया जाएगा flexi cap की जैसा. इसमें quality will be one input. Growth will be another input. Sustainability of the business will be another input, and valuation of the business will be another input. So typically, कोई भी stock को feature होने के लिए हमारे portfolio में has to go through the grind of this muster or this filter or this framework for it to be qualified to be part of our portfolio. While it is commodities, and commodities में आप ये समझ सकते हो कि we have seen gold appreciating quite a bit over the last 3-4 years, and I'm sure that the natural question which comes to everybody's mind at this point in time is gold going to appreciate in a similar way? uh, Honestly, uh, gold may not be rising the same way it has done, but the story of gold is still not completely over. So it may still have a good couple of years of rising up to be there. Just to complement this, we have also included silver as part of the commodities section. And in the bucket of commodities from day one, we will have silver and gold having equal weights to represent commodity as the third segment outside of equity and debt. Uh, as geopolitical uncertainty is there, commodities or metals tend to appreciate. Uh, and the overall global uncertainty, the US tariff regimes, um, the rising industrial demand for silver. Silver has started having a huge demand. And when the supply is less and the demand is more, we all understand that the prices are expected to go up. So while gold is still having some bit of juice left, even now, silver is a good complementing factor to add on to gold and be part of this overall commodity proposition. So I think uh, it's from a commodity perspective, we also have a tactical play of including copper. So while gold and silver will be more strategic, copper will be tactical, and we didn't want to restrict ourselves with any kind of particular segment or metal or particular way of looking at commodities. It can be anything. We have kept it open in our offer document with the regulator of being able to include it depending on what is best suited for the investors and how do we capitalize, optimize the returns for the portfolio building up through this new fund offering. The fixed income will be very simple while this is shown in the slide, but if I have to sum it up on the fixed income part, it is going to be SLR. It is going to be the priority of safety first, followed by liquidity, and then followed by the third bracket, return. This will be primarily 75 to 80% into AAA. Uh, the maturity would be in the 1 to 3 years bucket. And I think what's important is fixed income is going to provide a good amount of stability to the portfolio, while equity and gold will complement each other in the upside. Fixed income as a balancing figure will be giving you that stability, which is going to be very important uh, in a scheme of things. The fund managers are going to be Janki Raman Rengareju himself. He's the CIO for the India business. We have Rajasa K. She is portfolio manager for the hybrid part. We have Rohan Maru and Pallab Roy, who will be managing our fixed income piece. All of them are very seasoned. बहुत ही समय से हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, and you can see their industry experience and the Franklin Templeton experience. Most of them are have been there for long, barring Rohan Maru, who has joined us last year, but others have been fairly long with us and part of the portfolio management team. So I'll stop here. I had a small, crisp presentation to share with you. Happy to take thoughts, comments, views, questions, and back to Diwakar.
Yeah, thank you, Siddharth. Thanks for such a great insight about this info. So one thing, like the category is multi-asset, and there are different assets in this category. So आज के टाइम में एज ए इन्वेस्टर अगर मैं कुछ सरप्लस फंड के साथ बैठा हूँ, so how comfortable, how comfortably I can put the money lump sum if I have some lump sum money with me. So is it a good category जहाँ पे मेरे को बहुत ज़्यादा सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है, and I can put the money right away?
ये बहुत ही अच्छा सवाल किया आपने दिवाकर, एंड आई वुड से यस, आई एम श्योर दैट most of us will be having these questions in their mind. As I shared in the beginning of the presentation, that जब uncertainty होता है, then you want to make the best use of all the asset classes which are going to do well. Now, honestly, you and me, we don't know which asset class is going to do well. And there's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of volatility. Uh, tariff wars are there. Growth numbers are still coming. Whether dollar will weaken, not weaken, whether dollar will appreciate. So in the midst of all this, if I put 50-60% in equity, and if I put some 10-20% in gold, simple, forget the NFO, and the balance in fixed income, I think equity will give you growth, uh,
Yes.
fixed income will give you stability, and gold will give you the upside which we can achieve through commodities, because आपका allocation मार्केट में भी है, आपका एलोकेशन मेटल्स में भी है, आपका एलोकेशन एफडी में भी है, या फिक्स्ड इनकम. इफ आई हैव टू टेक ए साइलो of FD. By
Mm.
FD, I mean the fixed income allocation. तीनों जगह पे है. And you have, if you have a cricket team, very simply put, हम क्या पूरा क्रिकेट टीम 11 बॉलर के साथ जीत सकते हैं? नहीं। हम क्या
No.
पूरा क्रिकेट टीम 11 बैट्समैन के साथ जीत सकते हैं? नहीं। या फिर फील्डर्स के साथ? नो। यू नीड
Mm.
बैट्समैन, यू नीड फील्डर्स, यू नीड बॉलर्स. So for a portfolio also is a team. You need equity, you need gold, you need fixed income, all of them winning the portfolio as a team. And uh, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात, दिवाकर, इंडिया में, भारतवर्ष में, हम कोई भी डिस्कशन इन्वेस्टमेंट का खत्म नहीं कर सकते हैं विदाउट द डिस्कशन ऑन टैक्सेशन. एंड दिस इज अ tax efficient way because this is going to have a equity taxation. So that also meaningfully is a good support that you are being able to invest in gold and fixed income and equity all put together in a equity taxation route.
Agree. True.
So that's my thought
सो आई
on
थिंक दिस इज
this.
एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट जहाँ पे हम बात कर रहे हैं इक्विटी टैक्सेशन की. अगर मेरे को फिक्स्ड इनकम में भी इन्वेस्ट करना है तो टैक्सेशन वुड बी डेफिनेटली ऑल टैक्स लाइबिलिटी विल कम टू यू. बट यहाँ पे आप अमाउंट उतना इन्वेस्ट करें जितना आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि भाई ये मेरे को डेट का एक्सपोजर तो मिल रहा है बट इक्विटी टैक्सेशन के साथ, गोल्ड का एक्सपोजर मिल रहा है बट इक्विटी टैक्सेशन के साथ. सो आई थिंक दिस इज अ इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट विच वी शुड कीप इन माइंड, जो हमारे लिए थोड़ी हेल्पफुल जरूर हो सकती है. So we have some questions from our participants also. So there are similar type of multi-asset allocation funds in the market from different AMCs. So हमारा ये जो NFO है, so this particular multi-asset allocation fund, how different it is from others?
Superb. And good, this question came up. I'm very excited to answer this. I'll
Hmm.
answer it in two parts.
Hmm.
Uh, First part will be Franklin Templeton के तरफ से, and the second part will be some uh, details which Diwakar asked for. Uh, if I have to answer it from a Franklin Templeton perspective, you would realize that we had come out with an NFO last year on multi-cap, and we came with that NFO after 15 years. And we do not come out with NFOs every now and then.
Hmm.
Whichever fund we feel that is good for that investor in a particular market cycle, we bring the NFOs after so long gaps. So till now, there are so many, as Diwakar rightly you said, that there are so many multi-asset in the market. But Franklin did not launch this earlier just because it had to launch. We feel that multi-asset is well timed for now, and we feel that multi-asset is the need of the hour. We also feel that multi-asset can give a good diversification of how you should move ahead. So, first of all, from a Franklin Templeton perspective, I think the multi-asset is a good proposition, and we never had this category. We are bringing in this category at a well-timed opportunity. The second part, which I wanted to answer, was how is my fund different? So I can come and say, well, I am different, but I am not going to say that. I'm going to give you some states and some facts. First of all, Franklin Templeton is the first fund in the country to be able to deliver and design a fund in the industry on model, right? So we used to have a fund which used to invest. It used to be called earlier FT India Dynamic P Ratio Fund of Funds. So from a perspective of uh, a particular quantitative uh, parlance, Franklin Templeton was the first fund in the country. So we have a very strong proprietary model. We have a team which actually works on proprietary models, and we are bringing in that parlance and bringing it to the investors through this NFO on a proprietary model. So this model is with us, and we uh, have a team running it. The second point is, if you would see, the differentiating pointer for me would be the commodities. The commodities, we are not resting ourselves to a gold or essentially to a silver. I have the ability, or rather, we have the ability to go into gold, silver, copper, even REITs. Uh, so we have kept it quite open, and we will keep moving as to which commodity is the flavor of the season and we will keep changing that and not restrict ourselves. But from a parlance of today, we can give you that visibility that if 10 rupees has to get allocated between gold in the commodities basket, it will be 5 rupees in gold, 5 rupees in silver. So I think these are the broad two or three things in which we are differentiated from the marketplace.
Okay, so I think silver is also there as a commodity. So I think that'll play a very important role. As of now, what we can see is कि जो demand है silver की काफी बढ़ रही है, as well as industry में भी अगर हम देखते हैं तो काफी demand बढ़ती जा रही है silver को लेके. So I think yes, that is a differentiator which is there in this NFO. One more questions which is like what I can ask over here is सिल्वर में जो रैली हमने अभी तक देखी एंड गोल्ड में जो रैली हमको अभी तक दिखी है, सो यहाँ से हम और आगे क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर सकते हैं एंड व्हाट शुड बी द टाइम होराइजन कंसिडरिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर एनएफओ. द कस्टमर शुड कीप इन माइंड कि अगर मैंने आज इन्वेस्टमेंट किया है, सो व्हाट शुड बी द टाइम होराइजन wherein I should stick with this fund and I'll see a good return.
So this is a very pertinent question again, Diwakar. Uh, I would stick to a 3 to 5 year kind of a
Right.
time horizon. Typically, having said that, uh, for every fund, I think one should, when an investor comes into uh, the offering, one should have a minimum horizon in mind and then come into the fund. Having said that, this is a hybrid category scheme where your balancing act of equity, commodities, and fixed income will entail downside protection and will also entail the upside through equities. On the expectation of gold and silver, anybody's guess. But if I have to put in some data, some thought, some direction into mind, I think uh, gold may not have the next 5 years as the last 5 years, right? But uh, has the juice of gold ended? The answer to that would be probably no, because still a 18 to 24 months kind of appreciation may be expected from gold. Having said that, silver is again a good complement to gold. I would say silver is not mutually exclusive to gold. I would say silver would be a good complement to gold because it's just starting to build the appreciation around silver. And the demand for silver in many sectors are only going up and up and up. And I think that's a good uh, metal to stick with post gold, which has seen most of the run up, to be able to appreciate and be part of the core portfolio in multi asset.
Great. Okay. So that is one of the asset class in this NFO. Another is
Absolutely.
equity, जहाँ पे हमने बात किया था कि valuations जो हैं, so in current scenario even the valuation is above average. So यहाँ पे भी एक expectation तो हमको equity में भी रखनी पड़ेगी कि भाई this is the expectation which we should keep if we are investing in equity. So what should be the expectation is?
I think I mean typically an equity expectation should be in and around 10 to 12%, yeah, 14%. If I have to build in some parlance from the last 10 years or 20 years, 20 years equity has given 14.8% returns. I don't think we need to go with an expectation of 14.8%. Even if we take a 12% expectation, I think we are good with that. Again, I want to bring in a point which I said at the beginning of the presentation. 1986 में एक स्टडी किया था, स्टडी हुआ था जहां पे यूएस के बहुत सारे पेंशन फंड्स को स्टडी किया गया था कि कौन सा फंड अच्छे हैं. And what happened was the thesis which came out was that 90% of the returns came from the discipline of asset allocation. It was not from the asset class, whether it is equity, fixed income, and gold. So what happens is, जैसे मैंने वो एग्जाम्पल के जरिए समझाया, that अगर आप रीबैलेंस करे होते तो आपको ज्यादा फायदा होता, अगर रीबैलेंस नहीं किए तो आपको कम फायदा होगा. तो इक्विटी भले 12 से 14% दिए और गोल्ड अगर भले ही मेरे को 12 से 14% दिए, और अगर डेट मेरे को 7 से 8% दिए टिपिकली, और या फिर 6 से 7% दिए, then also I would say that the tectonic shift of the complementing between the different asset classes will be giving me the return and may not be only the asset class. So the composite portfolio is what is required to be looked at, and
Mhm.
then get going with the offer. I think there's a question on the style of management on stock
Mhm.
selection
Yes,
methodology, right?
yes, yes, yes.
So typically, the stock selection methodology will be flexi cap, and flexi cap के strategy क्या, हम लोग आधार पे invest करेंगे, large होगा, mid होगा, small होगा, and we will not be restricting it only to any particular cap. We will be quite open. एंड अगर आपको एक साइलो लेना है, अगर आपको समझ लेनी है कि किस तरीके से मैनेज किया जाएगा, हमारा फ्रैंकलिन इंडिया फ्लेक्सी कैप फंड है। हम जैसे वहां पे कोई भी मार्केट कैप एग्नोस्टिक है, हम कहीं पे भी जा सकते हैं, जो इक्विटी पोर्शन होगा हम वैसे ही मैनेज करेंगे।
ग्रेट, डन। सो यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन ये भी था कि आर्बिट्राज का पार्टिसिपेशन टू मेक इट इक्विटी टैक्सेशन, सो उस पे इफ यू कैन
परफेक्ट।
पुट लाइट।
Yeah, so arbitrage is a very simple product, and it basically deals with the arbitrage between cash and spot markets. But for the understanding of in a very simple manner, uh, arbitrage is a good hedge in terms of providing that stability of giving you the equity taxation bit. So if the model says that 40% will be equity, then what will happen is 40% plus 35, plus 25, which makes it 65. Uh, so that 25% we will put in arbitrage. Arbitrage we will not necessarily use in every allocation, but whenever we have to reach that 65%, we will be using arbitrage. So net net, you can consider equity plus arbitrage will always be 65%.
61%.
And the balance 35% will be distributed between fixed income and commodities, right? 65. So equity and arbitrage, I correct myself, equity and arbitrage will always be 65% and above. So bare minimum will be 65%. It can be 80% also. Then it is the balance will be the other two asset classes.
Correct. So 65% is basically required to get the equity taxation. So
That's
that
right.
is the concept wherein we are using arbitrage. So arbitrage को हम उसी पर्पस के लिए यहाँ पे यूज कर रहे हैं।
हाँ जी।
सो अनदर थिंग इज लाइक यहाँ पे जो हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया था, फिक्स इनकम जिसको हमने यहाँ इंट्रोड्यूस किया हुआ है, एंड इसमें भी हमको इक्विटी टैक्सेशन मिलता है बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रीजन ओनली। सो
Yes.
आप Siddharth, if you can just put some light on, if somebody wanted to invest in fixed income बट वो वहाँ नहीं कर रहा है बिकॉज टैक्सेशन जब से चेंज हुआ है, सो मैनी पीपल थिंक कि भाई टैक्स लाइबिलिटी बढ़ जाएगी, सो वहाँ हम क्यों इन्वेस्ट करें, सो दे
Sure.
आर फॉर अनदर ऑप्शन। So
Sure.
how it will benefit to them in this investment?
Perfect. So in very simple, and thanks Diwakar for this question. ये प्रोडक्ट कंस्ट्रक्ट के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। अगर आप सोचिए कि एक रिटेल इन्वेस्टर है, उनको अगर इक्विटी में पैसा लगाना है, गोल्ड में निवेश करना है, और फिक्स्ड इनकम में निवेश करना है, वो अलग अलग निवेश करेंगे। गोल्ड लेंगे वो ईटीएफ से, इक्विटी लेंगे वो स्टॉक से या कोई म्यूचुअल फंड से, और फिक्स्ड इनकम वो कॉर्पोरेट बॉन्ड खरीदें या फिर अलग से इन्वेस्ट करें कोई फिक्स्ड इनकम फंड में। टैक्सेशन इक्विटी का अलग, फिक्स्ड इनकम का अलग। फिक्स्ड इनकम इज मार्जिनल रेट ऑफ टैक्स, राइट, एंड इक्विटी का टैक्सेशन अलग। लेकिन अगर अगर मेरे को एक ओल्ड हीरो होंडा का ऐड आता है, याद था, याद
Mhm.
है, याद आया, फिल इट, शट इट, फॉरगेट इट। नाउ इफ यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट इन वन फंड which will take care of all the needs and which will keep doing the rebalancing month on month, and you don't have to think, because आप अलग अलग अगर निवेश करेंगे तो हर महीना अगर आप उसको रीबैलेंस करते हो तो उसका टैक्सेशन ट्रिगर होगा। कभी कैपिटल लॉस होगा, कभी कैपिटल गेन होगा। बट म्यूचुअल फंड इज अ ट्रस्ट, म्यूचुअल फंड को टैक्सेशन नहीं लगता है. तो फॉर एन इन्वेस्टर इट इज इन्वेस्टेड इन इक्विटी, फिक्स्ड इनकम एंड गोल्ड, एंड दे डोंट हैव टू टेक इनटू अकाउंट. एक मॉडल है जो बहुत सोच समझ के बनाया गया है, और वो मॉडल उसी आधार पे निवेश कर रहा है मार्केट में. और एट ए फंड लेवल you get the benefit of all the three asset classes and not depend and get bothered about the individual taxation implications. तो उस हिसाब से आपको फिक्स्ड इनकम का भी एलोकेशन को ऊपर, आपका फिक्स्ड इनकम एलोकेशन एक है निवेश में, वो भी it's getting taxed at a equity level from the hybrid fund positioning, which is a point to note. I
Correct.
think what is exit load करके एक
हाँ,
सवाल आया. Exit load is 50 basis, 0.50% for 1 year.
great. Okay. So yeah, so I think we have covered most of the questions, and definitely this is one of the product which will save you time as well. जहाँ पे
Yes.
हम बहुत ज़्यादा सोचना नहीं है कि मैं इक्विटी में जाऊं, डेट में जाऊं, या फिर गोल्ड खरीदूं नहीं खरीदूं. आई थिंक देयर इज अ फंड मैनेजर हु इज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग एंड दे आर कंप्लीटली इन्वॉल्व इन दिस. सो आप आपका टाइम, जहां आप जो आप अगर किसी जॉब में है, सो डेफिनेटली यू कैन गिव योर टाइम देयर एंड रेस्ट द फंड मैनेजर विल टेक केयर ऑफ. So another question is like, is it better to invest by the way of lump sum or through STP or SIP? So what is suggestion in this particular category?
So I think good question. I think ये नया फंड ऑफर है, न्यू फंड ऑफर है, दोनों ऑप्शन है हमारे पास. बट अगर आप मुझसे पूछोगे तो मैं कोई रिकमेंड नहीं करूंगा कि आप लमसम में आइए, बट और या एसआईपी में आइए. अगर आपके पास लमसम कर सकते हो तो जरूर कीजिए. नया फंड ऑफर है, इट्स ए न्यू फंड एंड यू स्टार्ट योर जर्नी. एसआईपी अगर आप कर सकते हैं तो आप एसआईपी के कीजिए. बट फॉर मी दैट इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट. फॉर मी what is important is your experience of investing in a multi-asset proposition. For me, what is important is that you understand the multi-asset proposition. For me, what is important is अभी तक आप शायद इक्विटी में करते आए, ये गोल्ड में tangible. कई लोगों ने, मैंने सुना है कि they buy a gold biscuit every year, or they buy ETF of gold through the exchange every year. You are getting a solid proposition of all in one basket through this fund. What is more important is your experience and being an investor with Franklin Templeton, who has been into the business for many years now. You're completing 30 years, almost 29 years in the business. And, and who better, a channel partner like HDFC Securities, who is entailed with a lot of trust and has helped many investors in the wealth creation journey over the years.
Yeah, thanks. So one thing, so all the participants, I think we have covered most of the questions. I would like to ask you, like, our app, Invest Right app. If you'll go there, there is a section which is NFO. If you'll go there, you can see the Franklin NFO, which is live there. You have to just click few times and you can just invest in this particular fund. I would request you to reach out to our relationship manager as well. The options to invest in and to help you to invest in different asset classes, they are there, and definitely they'll guide you where you can invest. The important part over here is like कि आपका time horizon is very important. So if you ask your relationship manager, this is my time horizon, definitely they can tell you what all the options are available. And I believe this is one of the product, and this is one of the scheme wherein most of the asset classes are there, and you need not to think much. Again, same thing will go, like just invest and forget. So that is the one thing which you have to do, and definitely the fund manager is there who will do everything for you. So thank you all the participants for joining this webinar, and have a great time.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Diwakar, for having us, and look forward to a good participation. The NFO closes on 25th July, and look forward to having a great time. Thank you.
Yes. The fund is closing on 25th, so just keep it in mind. Thank you everyone. Bye.